Police checks or vetting of volunteers is now the norm across the UK. The Safeguarding Vulnerable Groups Act makes criminal record checks compulsory for all adults who work, voluntarily or paid, with children or vulnerable adults. So whether you're a football coach or a parent taking your friend's kids swimming regularly, you will have to get checked out. And if you don't, you will be committing a crime and could be fined up to £5,000. Police checks are now widely enforced, but it will be a crime a year from now on for non-compliance. The scheme will cost a whopping £91.6 million over the first 5 years and affect about 11 million adults. Let's get more from Emma Grant, who is discussing the impact of vetting on volunteering with those in the know. Over to you, Emma.
Thanks, Ruji. Hi, I'm Emma Grant, and joining me today is Baroness Neuberger, Chair of the Commission of the Future of Volunteering, Josie Appleton, Convener of the Manifesto Club and Organiser of the Campaign Against Vetting, and Mervyn Barrett, Communications Manager at the crime reduction charity NACRO. We're going to kick off the discussion today by having a look at a film made by Amin Ali, a worldwrite volunteer, called Checkmate.
This is a story of one young volunteer and his community and how compulsory CRB checks will affect them.
Hi, my name's Amin Ali, I'm 21 and I'm a volunteer youth worker. I've been volunteering for 5 years and last year I had to do a CRB check.
My name is Soiful Rahman. To get CRB checks done, whether they can do volunteers, I think it's total rubbish because you got young people like me. I mean, I came out of prison and I become a youth worker, that I got a chance in life. They'll think twice because when I used to apply for jobs, I used to think twice whether I would get the job or not because of my because I went in prison a couple of years ago, you know. So a piece of paper is nothing. It's all about the character, person's character.
My name's Sol. I live in this estate for 23 years. I don't think it's a good law. I think everyone has to make their own judgments. I mean, you can ask your friends, or do you know this person, or other community groups that you've worked with before, you can ask them. But I think you have to give people a chance in life.
I started doing tournaments because during the summer, the people were hanging about doing nothing, including me. People kept on coming to me and like requesting, are you going to do a tournament? I got a bad habit, I can't say no. Saturday started for me the Friday night. I had to stay up and prepare. Basically, all day was stressed. What my jobs are basically, I have to, keep a record of who scores, who wins, what's the final score. I also referee some games. People turned up team by team. So literally I had 16 teams, so that's about 150 plus, so many people. But I managed to do it. So I took everyone in the pitch. Oh, and this was funny because I am one of them and I'm saying the rules. And some of them obviously was taking the mick because who am I to say the rules? But I'm the organizer obviously, so I had to put a front. After the final whistle, I called the teams, gave her the trophies, top goal scorer, manned the tournament, and then it finished. I've been CRB checked twice. Everyone trusted me, but I still had to do a CRB check. As soon as I got it, I put it at the back of the drawer. No one knows that I got a CRB check. And there ain't no point in them knowing, because it wouldn't make a difference.
I think that's a disgrace about you have to go through CRB check. I mean, for my life, you get me? I don't know what the government will think on the paper about me, but I know him.
Next year, if I do a tournament without the help of the youth club, it's going to be illegal for me to do it.
I'd just like to take your initial responses to the film. Starting with you, Julia, what would you like to say?
I think it's a very good film. I think it raises some of the issues. It's clear that we have become obsessed about having to have CRB checks, and I think we need to think about why people are so nervous about checking the records of people who volunteer with children, young people and vulnerable adults. And I'm very ambivalent about this. I think we do need to protect people, but at the same time I think we've gone over the top. I think we need a reasonableness test here.
Mervyn, would you like to say?
I do work for an organisation that has uncovered a great deal of discrimination in relation to criminal record checks, and I do think that the young people concerned have good reason to be nervous of them.
Josie?
I think that what the film really shows is that there's this real disconnection between the world of bureaucracy and the way that that assesses risk and the real world of volunteering, which happens in a community where people make their own judgments. I think that, you know, the young men in those films were real character models. You know, one of them said it's about character. You have to make your own judgment. And I think that there's a really, you know, a really good spirit in that, in what they were saying.
I think we have become so fearful as a society about attacks on children that, and even though they do not appear to be going up in numbers, you know, actually the numbers of children who are killed by strangers doesn't change very much from year to year. But we have become, I think, as a society, obsessed by that. So we want to prevent it.
But further than that, do you think that this culture of constant checking people actually puts people off from helping other people and actually becomes detrimental to protection of children?
Does it stop people volunteering? Answer, probably no. I do think it stops people, and particularly I think men, from helping a child in distress who they happen to see in the street. And there was a case of a toddler who had escaped from a nursery in Warwickshire, and she was seen, I think by, I can't remember whether it was a milkman or seen by somebody who didn't stop this little 2-year-old because he thought that he'd be thought of, you know, abducting the child. And I think that's become internalised, and that people feel that they can't help a child because of what people will think of them. I think that's dreadful.
NACRO runs a helpline. We get tens of thousands of disclosure calls a year. A great many of them are parents who want to volunteer at their local schools, and we'll say to them, look, go ahead with this is what you want to do, but we know in case after case after case the individuals will not do so because of that shame and embarrassment. So I do think it's having a greater impact on volunteering than yourself.
And coming back to the issue of trust, and what would you say on that, the idea of trusting the CRB rather than trusting the individuals?
I mean, I think trust is always a difficult question, and obviously you always, every time you leave your child with somebody, there's a leap of faith there. So trust always has to be earned. The basis on which trust can be built is you have to start out from a good faith. You have to start out from the presumption that this person is a neighbour, they are a citizen, they are a person like me, and it should be strange behaviour that makes you think, you know, that raises your alarm bells. I think that what's happened is we've reversed that assumption. We start with an assumption of bad faith, and the first thing we ask somebody is prove you're not a paedophile, which I think actually makes genuine trust impossible. You suspect everybody, which means that you don't suspect sensibly or wisely. You know, if you ask every single person, if you ask a grandmother, you know, you could be a paedophile, then it's completely nonsensical, it's completely mad. The message this law sends is that any person who works with a child in any capacity, there's something suspicious about that, and that will affect culture. It has already, and it will do more. There is a genuine sense out there that this is the wrong thing to do, and I think that this is really the time to actually have a debate about what kind of society have we created. Is this the right thing to do, and how might we better organise things?
Well, I hope you're right, because I rather agree that we haven't had all the debate. However, having sat in the House of Lords through some of the debate over this, I can't say that I was lobbied hugely about the Independent Safeguarding Authority, where everybody is going to have to be checked, who even, you know, drives their child's friends to a football match.
What's your opinion on that? Do you think that's outrageous?
I don't think it's outrageous. I just think it's terribly sad and rather stupid.
Well, I mean, we launched a petition a month before it went through, and what I always found was interesting was that we had a lot more positive response from people we spoke to in the street, from the media, than we did from politicians, and we did try lobbying.
Let me come back on you on that. As I think you've probably gathered that I'm really rather of your view, but there wasn't a feeling that the public was with us, and I think that's quite interesting, because I think you're picking up something, and it may be changing, and I hope you're right, because I'd love to see a less risk-averse society. I think it's deeply depressing that children are scared to go out of their houses because they think they're likely to be attacked by a paedophile.
I have to say that I'm more inclined to go along with Josie. I believe there is a growing groundswell of opinion against disclosure checks.
What the vetting system really embodies is actually the handing up of responsibility to this one board of people that we think will make us safe. We think if everybody in the country is on a database, and every time you do anything, then your database statistics are checked, then that'll make us safe. And it's just this fantasy of putting absolute trust in bureaucracy and no trust in people making professional decisions, which is actually the only basis to a sensible decision.
Okay, that's about all we've got time for today, so I'd just like to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emma.